Welcome back to Ultimate SNS. I just want to take a moment for everyone who views the videos, likes, and comments. You guys are great. So one of the things I want for this channel is to be a channel that is not just sitting around just talking about what to do if society collapses, if there is some type of a attack on our country or whatever. There's so many different avenues that can happen. It could be more shutdowns and things like that come across this nation. So when all this stuff happened a couple years ago, I was already working on getting to a sustainable level, and I was starting off slow. I wanted to get my pollinators, and I moved into quail and things like that. But I really started double timing at the beginning of this year, mainly because I want to make sure I had some good flocks for chickens and things like that, and did quail and stuff as well. But I wanted to get that garden in bloom. And the reason why is we could sit back and I can tell you buy food now. I can show you what type of food that I'm buying. I can show you long-term storage foods and things like that, like Legacy Foods and Mountain House, and there's all kinds of different brands out there. But as you're going to see, those brands are going up. The cost is coming up, and the reason for that is people are starting to be more aware of what's happening in society. They're looking at the economic situation here in this country, and we realize, those of us who are in our 40s and even older, we realize what's happening, and we're seeing a repeat of just before the housing collapse happened back in '08. We're seeing things that happened just before inflation really kicks up, and we're already seeing a lot of inflation, guys, and it's going to get a lot worse. I'm not the one telling you that, even though I'm the one repeating it. That is coming from analysts, people that is what they do. They are telling people to brace because the prices of food are going to go up. They're also telling us that the availability of food is going to go down, which is going to drive the prices up even more. So one of the things I really want to encompass on this channel, guys, is not just telling you that you need to get food. I want to show you what I am doing to prepare. So video that's coming out a little bit later this evening. I went out to the garden. I got some fresh turnip greens. I threw a few collard greens in there for some flavoring. I'm not real big on collard greens, but a few added in some turnip greens really turns out nice. So that video is going to show you how to go pick them. If you go back to our garden care, you're going to learn how to plant them, how to care for them, and then how to harvest them. And then not just how to harvest it, I'm going to show you how to make a meal with it. So these turnip greens and that I'm making today, the video that's going to be posting up this evening, is the reason it's posting up this evening is because this is going to be for dinner, and it takes a while to cook those greens. Understand, you're not just going to pull them out of the garden like, say, lettuce, wash it off, and you're good to go. You have to boil these greens. The reason you boil them is, one, it removes some of the bitter flavor, and two, it helps make them a little more tender, where your body's going to actually be able to digest it and receive the nutrients that's inside those greens. So I wanted to explain that's why we're doing that. But I hope that you see that this is not one of those channels where they're sitting back telling you, well, this is what you need to do, but they're not doing it. And there's a lot of that on this outlet, guys. There are so many, I don't know what to call them, posers, but people that are just up there and they're buying stuff at the store, and then they come back in and say, this is coming from my garden. I see that crap all the time on here. That's why I don't recommend a lot of channels, unless I have watched your channel and I have actually looked at the videos you're posting. And there are a lot of really great content channels out there, guys. There really are a lot of homestead channels and stuff. And I get a lot of information as far as like projects that I'm going to start, maybe I don't have any experience with, from watching, like Appalachian Homestead. I love that channel. Great channel. She goes through and teaches you everything you're going to need to know in that, that from starting off in the field to bringing it home, canning it, putting it on the dinner table. And I think that is very important for us to do, to show the reality of what homesteading is. And understand, if you hate to cook, then homesteading is not for you. If you just want to sit around and eat easy meals you can dump out of a can, then go to the store, stockpile on as much canned food as you can find. You want to buy as much food as you possibly can at this point. Me personally, it's going to come along a whole lot easier and go a lot further for me to just grow my own food. I don't mind cooking. I actually enjoy it for the most part. But I think it's important that people wake up. You've got to wake up. You're not going to be able to go to the store here in a few months and just pick out anything you want. You're going to go and get whatever's left. And now I know a lot of people are like, oh no, that's not going to happen. Well, that's fine. You live your life the way you want. While you're out and you're paying $3 or $4 for a can of food, I can go out and in 5 minutes go out, whip some fresh greens, go pick some tomatoes, get a fresh watermelon, get some fresh corn, go butcher some quail, maybe butcher a chicken, have eggs in the morning and stuff like that. So I still do go to the store to pick up sausage. And the reason I'm picking up so much sausage is I do not have any pigs. I don't care about doing pigs at all. But you can make, I don't know if you've ever heard of turkey sausage, chicken sausage, things like that. If you have a pork-based sausage, and I'm talking just buy the cheapest sausage you can add chicken meat to that sausage. And that's the way I'd recommend doing it. One, it's going to expand it. It's going to really make sure that your food goes a little bit further. It's going to stretch it out further. So anything that you buy at the store, you should be doing something here at your house that's going to allow you to stretch that food content out. But what the reality is going to be is a lot of people are going to start seeing the higher prices, and they're going to say, you know what, I'm just not going to buy food right now. I'm going to eat my stores. And when everything finally collapses, they're not going to have any sustainability left because they're not putting back into that food bank. And the best way to do that, cost effective, is to grow your own food, is to raise your own flocks, is to raise your own animals and things like that. But a lot of people don't have that space. And rather than realizing that you need to get out of the cities and you need to get out to the suburbs somewhere where you don't have as many regulations so you can raise your own food. If you do not do that, before the collapse comes, you will have eaten all your stores up just trying to save $1. And that's the reality of it. I'm not trying to be mean on this video. I'm trying to make sure that people understand exactly what the plan is. They know people are stocking food up. They know people are trying to raise food. What you want to do is make sure that you're raising enough where it doesn't matter what they know, because you're going to have enough for you. Eventually, they're going to try to starve everybody out. And that's where we're coming to. Why would they do that? Well, because it is the end of the American way of life. We are facing that as a reality. If you don't want to come to terms with that, then by all means, go to these other channels that will tell you a few things, give you a feel-good message, and not actually prepare you. See, there is a distance between knowing what to do and how to do it and actually doing it. Because everything that you think that you know, when you put it into practice, you're going to have to fine-tune those skills. Because I can show you how to grow turnip greens down here in Florida. But if you're not in Florida, it does you no good, because you're going to have a totally different soil, you're going to have a totally different planting season, and you will have a shorter growing season most likely. So you need to realize that there are some plants that do great in winter. I'm not talking about receiving 2, 3, 4, 5 foot of snow like what happens in a lot of these other countries and stuff, or other states, I should say, not countries. But the fact is, this is going to be worldwide, this food shortage. And I think people need to realize that if you're not getting prepared right now, you're not going to make it. You're just not. And as a believer, to sit there and say, well, God's just going to have to take care of me, that's lazy. That's laziness. Sloth is one of the 7 deadly sins that you read about. And that's laziness. I've got something boiling over here. Give me just a second. Yeah, so I've got greens over here cooking on the countertop, and they're looking great. All that's going to be step by step what to do in that video, guys, when it posts up. The reason it's not posting up yet is because I want to try to get as much of the process as possible and then show you the end result of what the meal is going to look like. And it's going to be actually better than what you're going to go buy at some restaurant. It's going to be better than what you can get in the store and things like that. It's going to be home cooked, which most people don't do anymore. It's not going to be processed foods. It is all organic, non-GMO. That's the way I do my food and stuff. Not because of the fact that, okay, well, that's going to be a lot better food, which it is, but because of the fact that it's what I have around here. I use quail manure to boost my plants. I have quail, I have chickens. Those are going to be meat sources and things like that for the family. They're going to help clear the garden area out after the planting season is ended. The chickens will come up, they'll clear all that out. They will defecate, which will create more nutrients in the ground. That'll all get tilled in. And then a lot of this chicken manure and stuff that I'm actually setting back in my compost bin at the end of the season, that's all going to get moved up to the garden and tilled into the ground. So next year when the garden comes in, it's going to be even better. It's going to get even bigger. It's going to have a wider variety of vegetables and things like that as well, because even now I'm not focusing so much on just buying canned food. I am buying seeds. I go to different types of stores. I don't even bother with the big box store. I go to my local hardware stores and feed stores, and I find what kind of seeds that those guys have, because a lot of times they're going to be heritage seeds. A lot of times they're going to have a better seed count to the price. And I'm not going to have to worry about getting broken seeds and weeds added into it and things like that, because they actually care about their consumers, unlike the big box stores. So yes, buy food now. Don't stop stockpiling, but buy seeds. Don't just go and buy some plants to stick in the ground. Yes, that's fine if you want a quick return around for some food. You're not, unless you're buying a heritage plant, you're not going to have seeds that are worth planting next year, in my opinion. You want to get as much bang for your buck as you can. And if you're buying these plants, yeah, sure, you might get nice tomatoes this year, but you take those seeds and plant them next year, they're not going to be anywhere near what you had, but it will be food. So get out there, get active. Stop sitting around saying, yeah, well, I know what I'm going to do. The fact is, you might know what to do, but unless you're doing it now, you're not going to have a chance to get it going, because you are going to run out of food and you are going to die, because it takes months for a garden to come in and start producing. That's why I like to plant greens, because you can get them early spring. You can pick them through the summer. What I'm going to do is, come summertime, those turnips are going to get thinned again. They're going to turn into bulbs, and I will have turnip bulbs. Then I will do another planting this fall when it's cool season, because when it comes down to a winter crop of turnips, you cannot beat the flavor. Spring turnips are nice. Winter turnips are even better. So you need to know what your planting seasons are. You need to know when to plant certain foods and things like that. When our corn comes out, which will be before our really bad hurricane season and the high winds start, the corn will be up out of the ground. So that's going to create more areas where I can do cool winter crops after hurricane season has ended, around middle of October, because I still have a good 3, 4, 5 months before our winter hits, which is around February. We only have about 6 to 8 weeks of actual winter weather here where I'm at. The rest of the time, it's perfect growing season. And because we just get frost, there are a lot of plants that are hardy, and light frost does not kill them. So those are going to be great to plant in certain sections of the garden, but typically I'm going to let the garden rest in that 2-month period. And what that does is that allows the nutrients to break down into the ground that's being tilled in. It allows me to keep turning the roots up of the weeds so that it can actually be killing that stuff when it frosts. So I hope this has been informative to you. Be careful where you get your information, guys. Unless you see these people actually out doing it, I wouldn't listen to anything they have to say, because they're reading articles or they're watching videos from other people. They're regurgitating the information to you, but it's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do them any good, because it's not being put into practice. You're not being shown what to do. Anybody can sit at the table and talk about how bad things are going to get and this is what you need to do. The fact is, they're not doing it. They're telling you what to do because they know that you're watching these types of videos. You want to learn how to do it and how to do it right. So if you want to learn how to do it right, welcome to the channel, guys. If you want to learn more about survival, I'm talking primitive skills. If you have nothing, how do you survive? You need to go to Survival Living. Check his stuff out, because he will take you out on a 5-day journey, guys, with nothing but one of them little cheap. Me personally, I have a nice extensive bug out bag, but he tries this stuff. And a lot of people go, you can't survive on that. Well, yes, you can. The smaller the pack, the smaller the survival pack is, the more skills you need. So if you can't use one of those small packs to survive, then your survival skills are not what you think they are. And a lot of people are thinking they're going to run through the woods and they're going to have a year's supply of food. How are you going to move through the woods with that? On a bicycle with a little cart behind you? You're not going to carry your supply of food with that. Get real. Understand what's coming. Know what's coming. Find a place, get situated, start your homestead, prepare where you can defend your homestead. That's what we're doing out here. So I hope everyone has a great day. We're going to hop off here.